Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LANCESCURV. We have a very interesting topic that I want to speak about, but it's very necessary today. I hope everyone's doing well, and we had a fabulous discussion last night as I lay in bed, and I'm up. I can't say bright and early, but it's a little later than the East Coast time that I shoot for. Like I said, I hope everybody's doing well. Keep your spirits up because there's a lot of propaganda out here, a lot of things to twist your mind up and confuse you, fake news, false realities, and people are pulling their hair out about that fake stuff. Always have a discerning spirit. But yes, today we're going to speak about, or rather the title is, Your Purse or a Nurse? Beware of what these predatory men want. And this title and subject was inspired because of a dear friend of mine who we met not too long ago at the mall. And I do call her a friend because she's transparent and she's real. And we met by chance. She was with her daughter and her son-in-law. And as soon as she came into the restaurant, she had a presence about her. And I looked at her and I knew she was from the United States. Now, there are a lot of people that I see that visit here in Ghana, West Africa, who are from the United States. And I don't have to run up to everybody. But she was special, vibrant, and just had a charisma about her. And so I made a mental note of that. So she turned around and looked at me. It was the same feeling. So she said, "Excuse me, are you from the States?" I said, "Yes, I thought the same thing about you. And after I'm hearing you talk, I know you're from New York." She says, "Really?" She says, "I know you're from New York too." So they sat down at the table next to mine and we continued to talk. Come to find out that she runs an organization here in Ghana, and just such a genuine soul, refreshing energy, no weird vibes. So a couple of weeks later, I went to the same restaurant and I ran into her again. It wasn't by chance. And we had been communicating over the phone because she's going to go and do a tour of the states. She's going to go back home and visit family, right? Like a bunch of states. And then come back. So one of the conversations that we recently had, mostly on voicemail, was that many of these men out here, because she is 74 years old, but you know she's up there, but she doesn't look 74. So she was speaking about how she has to be careful with these men who are predatory, who want to come around her for one thing. Okay? So they either want the purse or a nurse. And I thought about it. And that was shared with me a long time ago with somebody else who was up in years. K-Frame Classic. Yes, I'm glad you're here also. I'm glad you're here also. Thank you so much. Yes. So we're going to fashion this around what she said to me and different points that I brought up, but she's the inspiration. And this is how I get my topics. They just come to me through circumstances, with people, conversations. I don't have to reach. It's always something that comes to me that I feel is useful, all right? So I'm going to start out like this because I want to dedicate this to her. And I know she's going to either listen to it, maybe not, she's sleeping, but this is for all women. And it doesn't mean all men are like this, right? It just means that when you get up in age and you're successfully retired, you have your stuff together, you have men out here, young and old, who see you as food. They see you as a come up. They see you as a resource to make up for whatever they don't have in their life. Let's imagine this. She's 74 years old, beautiful, wise, and full of life. No health problems. Travels the world. lives well. She's not bitter. She's not angry. She's just careful. And she has every right to be. And I know this describes so many of our sisters who are getting to a certain point in their life where they don't want the BS. They just want peace. They don't need drama. Many of them, yes, would love to be in a relationship, but these days it's not worth the bother, right? And like she said, she told me something I'll never forget. Younger men want a purse, older men want a nurse. Simple, powerful, true. Too many women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and even 80s are walking around with full lives but lonely hearts. And when the wrong kind of man sees that, he smells an opportunity. Not love, not connection, but access to your body, your bank account, your home, or just your time. This is not to say that all men are bad, but if you're a mature woman who's built a good life, you need to protect what you've worked for. This is your golden chapter. Don't let someone drag you through the dirt. Matthew White, welcome on in. See you here bright and early. Thank you for being here. I made up 10 things older women must watch out for before opening the door to love again, because you can be very vulnerable. You can know these things and still fall victim to a predatory man. I'm not saying all men are like that. There are some good men out here, but you better take time because there are a lot of people out here who lie. And I jotted down the 10 most things you have to watch out for. But if you told me to make a list of 50 things, trust me, I can come up with it. Number 1, the sweet talker with an empty plan. He'll say all the right things. He'll make you feel young again. But behind the compliments is a man who offers nothing. Ask yourself, what does he bring to the table besides words? Can he manage his own life? Has he managed his own life? Does he have a plan? Or is his plan you? You see, they'll talk so sweet and make it seem so realistic. But these people, these types of men, and again, this can be reversed. This can be women, predatory women coming at older men, right? But I chose to focus on this because my friend and I spoke about this. But they have such a great gift of discernment. Hustlers, con men, they can look at you and pick up on things deeper than what you think you're displaying. And this is how they survive. I mean, I kind of think I have a great gift of discernment. It's not perfect, but I do not use it for predatory means. I see a lot of things. Later on, when I go out today and I'm in the crowds, I see people. I don't assess them. I'm not going to say judge, but I don't assess them on what I see on the surface. I can feel people. I can feel their intentions. And some people you meet, you might connect with them if you're distracted, but after a while you realize you just have to leave them alone. And I have to say that I can see at this point in my life how it is. Because even out here in West Africa, in Ghana, me walking down the street by myself, if I'm not with Mrs. Scurv, a lot of these young girls, they come at me in a very subtle way, in a seductive way, thinking that I'm an old guy who has access to something because I'm definitely not born here. They can tell I'm from America or abroad, so there must be something sustaining me. So they don't come on to you loud and just abrupt and forceful. They take their time. And then you realize, okay, here's one of them situations. I can't even be friendly. You can be friendly, but distance yourself because it's all over the world. And especially with the men here too, with the women. And that's how we got into the conversation. Oh my God. Ladies, you come here to the airport and you're going to be swamped with taxi drivers, dudes standing around proposing marriage, saying how you're the most beautiful person in the world. They don't even know you. Brother Landon, welcome on in. They don't even know you. But they're obvious with their game. The ones who are the most dangerous are the ones who you can't detect. Number 2, the man looking for housing, not a home. Some men are not looking for love. They're looking for shelter. If he's always between places, watch out, meaning between apartments. How do you go between places so frequent? Because you're not stable. If you have a lease, you're paying your rent, you're doing your thing, or you have a mortgage, you can't really be between places when you have a house, right? But yes, you can, because you can be foreclosed on. But these unstable people you have to watch out for, because you might be his next address. And they're moving fast, wear out your peace, and leave you with regrets. Number 1 rule with this is never let a man in your house until you truly know who he is. Because you know what? These guys can get forceful. They can get violent. Yes, they can. Once they're in and you start putting your foot down, situations start. Cops are called and all kind of things happen. And you can have him turn into a stalker. He got a taste. He got a taste of what it's like to live with you and never had a plan to move on. You are his plan, and he wants you. And he'll even try to advance on even more intimate levels to seal the deal if he feels that you're lonely. So don't even start that. If he needs to go somewhere, he needs to cough up some money and go to a hotel or go to a homeless shelter. And he'll try to make it seem like, oh man, you're so cruel. He'll pressure you, and you will feel the pressure, but don't give in. You don't know him. Number 3, the debt dodger in disguise. Older women who've worked hard may have savings, property, or a pension. Some men come in with charm, but carry debt like luggage. He may need a financial bailout, and you become the solution. Remember, you are not his rescue plan. I've heard many situations, and especially one where there was a couple that I knew the woman, but I didn't know the fiance. She didn't know much about him financially. And if he, in your situation, becomes offended when you ask about it, usually it's something to hide. If he's proud of how he manages finances, he wants to show it to you. He has no problem. But in this situation, they applied for some type of loan together, this couple that were about to get married. And all of a sudden, all the child support that he was behind on, all the credit card debt, all the places that he skipped out on without paying the rent was revealed. And it wasn't even just a little glitch of something you forgot. It was tens of thousands of dollars, more like almost $100,000 in debt this guy was in different ways over the years. And it showed. What if he revealed that early? It's not always about just money, but you don't want to be a person who's financing somebody else's debt. Because in many cases, when you marry this person, his debt becomes your debt. And now you don't have peace of mind. With habits like that, they'll continue on. And when they know they can lean on you, well, guess what? It's no big thing. When a person tells you something's no big thing, they know it is. They're just trying to minimize the effect and try to play a Jedi mind trick on you. It's ridiculous. It's never ending. Too many stories I've heard like this. Number 4, the fantasy hunter. Younger men may chase older women for the fantasy. Mature, confident, beautiful. That sounds flattering. But is he serious or just curious? Does he care about your soul or just your story? Let me tell you something. I get a lot of information shot to me and forwarded to me, and I can't keep up with it. So sometimes if you send something to me, I may not be able to respond right away because I have a mountain of emails, text messages, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, a lot of stuff. I try to keep up with it, but it's impossible. But regularly, I have this one guy who's always into statistics, and he's been sending me different stuff for years, and I know him personally. So his stuff always kind of sticks out. And years ago, he sent me a heat map of America and how they consume pornography as far as the different categories are concerned. And I've said this on other shows, and you might remember that. But the bottom line is, years ago, and still, down in the South, in America, the southern states, where you had a lot of traditional, yeah, because racism is part of America, right? It's part of the fabric of America, United States. Racism. But I found it funny that one of the heaviest and most consumed category of pornography in the South was black men with white women. And I'm going to assume this is not black men watching this stuff. There's a lot of white men who can't stand you in the street, but fantasize about you as a black man being with their white wife in the sheets. But that's how things work. That's how the human mind is twisted. We understand that, and that's how they are twisted. But another sustained category of porn is the granny porn, as they call it, the older women and the younger man. And I don't know what that's all about, but I tried to think about it, right? Well, you have this older woman, maybe these guys that are watching this are in their 20s or even their 30s, and they're fantasizing about their women, a woman in the 50s or 60s and 70s. It gets crazy. But why? Why? Is there something they're lacking? Is there something they feel the older woman can give that the younger woman can't? Or maybe the older woman is more settled and not looking to be as wild or go out on dates and spend lots of money. He can just go to this woman's house and get all he wants. And it's not a sick mother incestuous fantasy, but this grandmother has a mothering thing to her. So when he sees her sexually, it's a different vibe. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess. But that's what it is. Most men don't want to deal. Sweet Berry, welcome on in, my sister. Yeah, most men don't want to really deal with these younger women, not because the old woman is better. Maybe it is in their mind, but it's a fantasy most of the time. But are they going to stick with it in the long haul? And the long haul may not be as long with that older woman as you think is an older man. What happens when 10 years go by, 20 years go by, and she's 80, 90? Is it still going to hold the same allure for you? You have to understand, you know? Oh, yeah, Landon Price, I'm going to attempt to just keep the jab in the face. Boom, 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 boom. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long, sometimes it's pre-recorded, sometimes it's live. But I promise to do that as time permits. The next one, number 5, the lonely spot sniffer. Some men look for signs of loneliness. And this goes across the board, right? But we're speaking about the older women now. They study your words, your body language, your routines. Then they step in, not with love, but strategy. They play on your emotions. They say what you think you need to hear. Just because someone makes you feel seen doesn't mean they see you for real. So this is what these men do. They really don't even care about you. They're not really interested in you. They are a predator, those who are, And when they can sense your loneliness and your eagerness to engage, eager a little more than usual, because when you come out, you don't want to really come to a lonely home. It may be a beautiful home. It may be well stocked and everything set, but now your world has changed. And this is what they look for, right? Because obviously, and as a man who's getting to a certain age group, I notice it more. You get those phone calls 3 o'clock in the morning where you're finding out that friends and close associates are passing on. And it's always been like that for me from many, many years ago. And so that's why I try to live my life to the fullest and extract as much progress and the joy of the process in my life, because we're not going to be here forever. It's evident to me. You know, I was thinking the other day, I said 20 years go by, I'm 82 years old. Now, I'm not afraid of these numbers. It's just that I'm not going to focus on the past as much and whining over things I can't change and freaking out over the future. I'm right here in the now. This is July 31st. For me, it's 12:21 in the afternoon, and I'm doing what I need to do at 12:21 on July 31st on Thursday. So when this day is past, I can look back when I do and say, hey, I accomplished something. I did this, I did that, right? But there's some men, again, it comes down to that wicked sense of discernment. That discernment is a good thing. But when you have wicked intentions behind it to use those abilities, then guess what? It's wicked. Like I always say, there's not much difference between a pimp and a pastor. They have the same abilities, but use it in a different spirit. And hopefully that pastor uses it in a different spirit, because we're finding out even more so now, a lot of pastors are pimps in disguise. They have that ability to discern. They have that ability to speak, to be charismatic, to reach you and make you feel, oh my God, and this whole congregation, this huge church, I just know he's speaking to me. It's a spiritual thing. It's spiritual warfare. And don't think anything else of it. These men will come up next to you in the supermarket and ask your opinion. What applesauce brand do you think is the best? Or see something in your cart and want to talk about it, or make sure to get behind you in the checkout line and strike up a conversation. And you think it's innocent because I don't know this person, but I don't mind talking because I'm lonely. And they can sniff it. You walk past them in the supermarket and you smile. It should be okay to do that. But these days, you don't know who you're dealing with and who's next to you. Look at the show that I did not too long ago about the man who followed the woman home because she merely looked at him. And maybe she smiled in passing. That's what we do from different generations. But you have to be ice cold and non-receptive to anything they throw out until you get to know them. And any decent man coming around you will understand this, will understand that there are all different types of people in this world, and you have to keep your guard up. You can't have your doors open. You can't go out there smiling and embracing everybody and letting them on in. They can be very convincing, but you got to be careful, because once they come in, it's hard for them to get out. And most of the time, that's the way it works out. And it's not all things that are nice about that. Number 6, the man with no spiritual direction. He may be polite. He may even be smart. But what is his spirit like? Does he believe in anything? Does he pray? Does he respect life? Does he respect women? See, it doesn't mean you have to be a churchified holy roller, but have some sense of hierarchy on who you are in this universe. Because you damn sure don't want to deal with an atheist. Even if they don't go to church or the mosque or whatever, because in those places you have predators also. And that's where they sit the strongest, like a spider in a web, right? But does he respect life? Does he respect women? And you have to see this in how they interact with each other, especially when they get a little closer to you. Watch how they act when they think you're not looking, right? The things that they do to other people, they will definitely do to you when they get very comfortable. But if he's spiritually empty, he'll leave your soul dry. Your golden years deserve peace, not emotional chaos. But isn't it something? When you live a peaceful life and you keep all the negative energies, you have a filter about you, but you have a wall that you can close off. I'm not telling you to be a hermit, but guard it. Very careful. How many times have you gone out to take out the garbage? Just run outside real quick. Somebody's bringing you an envelope or something, and you got to run out to the car real quick, and you open up the door and close it behind you. You got your keys on you. You run out, take out the garbage, or run to the roadside in front of where you live to get this envelope, and you run inside. Later on, you're relaxing in your living room, or you're in your kitchen, or whichever way it's set up, where you have your food and you're eating. Don't matter where it is. Might be your bedroom if you eat in your bedroom. All of a sudden, this big behind fly, horsefly. Bzzz. Wait a second. You're not thinking. This big behind horsefly get in the house. And it's hard to get a fly out of your house unless you find a room that he's in and lock him in there and later on go spray it up. Hopefully he'll die. But you can't leave the door open hoping he leaves because other flies might come in. So this is what I'm saying. Be careful who you open your doors to, not just your physical house, but also your life, your energy. They're gauging your energy. Just like when you pop the hood and you gauge by sticking in, pulling out the long little stick to see how much transmission fluid you have. You can look at the dashboard and see how much gas you have, but you have to gauge it by saying, uh-oh, transmission fluid's low. That's why I was shifting gears kind of hard. I need to put some in. So when they can check what you have under the hood through what you share with them and their conversation, guess what? They get an idea of where you stand. When they find out what you do in your life and what you don't do. And there's other things, like I said, I could have come up with 50 things, but we'll be here for a long time. Number 7, the passive partner who pulls you down. And I had a conversation with another friend of mine in Texas who's going through this right now with her husband. Sometimes it's not about scams. It's about energy. You might meet a man who means well. He has no drama, but he has no drive either. He may not want to grow, improve, or build with you. And slowly, his stillness starts to hold you back. A relationship should lift both people, not weigh one down. And this is what happens. I'm not going to tell all my friends' business, but she married somebody a couple years ago that she knew from childhood. She ran back into him again, and she felt she can open up a little more to him because of how long they knew each other. But there was a gap of many years. See, this is what happens when we meet people from many years ago. We remember where things were when we left off with them. Because things happen. You lose contact. Maybe you're not on social media together, or maybe you lost contact long before social media came to be. And so we assume because we knew them, they grew up in our neighborhood, we know their family, we don't know what they turned into. They might have been off of crack for 10 years. I'm not knocking anybody who is, but you don't know what journey they went through, what their journey has been. You don't know. So you let them in even more. So this man runs his own business, gentleman, loving, caring, lazy. And this sister that I know for a good amount of years now, because time has really slipped by, she's very ambitious. She pushes herself hard. And she knew him for being that way. But for some reason, he lost his drive. And he's not pushing or even thinking about improving. And she's done so much in her life in the last 5 years, aside from what he's trying to keep up with. Because if you have two people who are pushing, it may not be in the same area of expertise, but you're pushing. You're synergistic. Meaning that, and I've said this before, two people who focus on goals and improving themselves, and they have to overlap somewhat, right? It's like 25 people. It's not just two. Nah, when two people get together and they have the right mindset and they're focused to improve and help each other, it may be different areas, but just to be around a person who's pushing, and if you're married to them, live with them or whatever, in a committed relationship, there has to be overlap. And when you both are going for the same goal, success is guaranteed, even though you might get some bumps in the road and some setbacks and some detours. You're like 25 people. When you're with somebody who doesn't want to grow, they literally hold you back, right? Like I just said, a relationship should lift both people, not weigh one down. And loneliness can sometimes have you tolerate this type of thing, where you hold yourself back just to have somebody to lay in the bed next to. And it's not even about sex after a certain age. It's the companionship, because our bodies change. We can get erotic. We can get in keep in contact with our sensuality. That's what I spoke about yesterday. That's a beautiful thing. But don't fear being alone, because the worst thing is being with somebody in a so-called committed relationship and you are alone. That's the most, listen, when you're by yourself and you're alone and you feel lonely, you can accept that more because, okay, I don't have anybody. I'm by myself. But when you're with somebody and they're lazy, not pushing with you, they're distant, and you have a body next to you, a warm body that's in a different planet, that's the loneliest feeling in the world. You're not connected to them. Number 9, the manipulator with a mask. Watch how he treats others. The waitress, his ex, his own family. Does he lie often? Twist facts? Blame others? That mask will slip eventually, but by then, it may be too late. You got to trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. And I've said this before. When I worked with the incarcerated as a corrections officer in 2 different facilities, and me knowing people in the street who used to be locked up and they come out in the world. So I see it both ways. Working with the public when I used to drive the bus in Orlando, Florida. But more so, I would hear guys, they would always talk about how when they get out, they have to find a good woman. Not because they're a good man. And I'm not saying they can't be a good man because they have been incarcerated, because circumstances are different. You have crimes of passion. You have men who have hungry kids and they don't have a job and they got caught stealing food. Okay, that's a righteous thing, but it's not good to break the law. But they'll talk about, hey, Scurv, man, when I get out, there's a lot of good women out there, man. I'm going to find me a good Christian woman and I'm going to treat her right. We're going to live happily ever after on her resources. And you think Christian women are dumb? A lot of them are just as shrewd as you in the street. A lot of them are looking for a man or a come up. It doesn't make them any better, but in their mind, these women are vulnerable. They may not be streetwise. And there are a lot of women who, well, the Lord said to forgive and they give everybody a second chance. And they're saying this stuff, but really it's because they're tired of sleeping alone. And these guys who are incarcerated, not all of them, but they know this. So when they come out somehow, some way, they get their nice suit of clothes, nice shoes, little cheap shiny watch, and they get their Bible. You always get a free Bible from somewhere, right? And they walk up in the church on a Sunday morning, or if you're Seventh-day Adventist, a Saturday morning. You buff, you've been working out, you've been planning for this. And you see all of these women. Some of them have husbands, but a lot of them are by themselves sitting there. A lot of them you saw drive up in some nice cars. So you already know they probably have a nice home. And that's the perfect place to manipulate. Let me tell you something. There's a church that I knew of, right? And they had some type of program with prisoners that were allowed to leave the facility, come to church, and they bring them back. And you had corrections officers there who can watch over them. But the corrections officers that were there, they were real lax. One of these guys would get up and want to go to the bathroom, and they had worked it out. When they got to the church earlier, week after week, this is some kind of program, because these were model inmates and they never got in trouble, and they were minor crimes. But this is how nature works. These guys, when they got to the church, they started talking to some of the church sisters, because they'd make sure to sit next to them. And they'd get their phone number. And you can, certain facilities, make calls. And they were taking the calls. And these guys, it's a bunch of them. I'd say at least approximately, if there were 15 of them, 20 of them, 8 of them hooked up with these girls, with these women, various ages, height, weight, shapes. They didn't care. And their game, and I'm going to say it this way, I'm not condoning it, but their game was so good that in the church, the parking lot, these women were giving sex to them. Probably 8 out of the 20, more or less. Not all at the same time. But these guys would slip off like they're going to the bathroom. It might not even be inside one of the cars. It might be in one of the dark corners out there by the bushes. Church sister bent over with a skirt up around her waist. And you know what he was doing behind her? Not to get lewd. But you can find yourself, because of loneliness or a gap in your defense, find yourself doing all kind of things. And a lot of these guys were targeting these women so that when they get out, and that was the promise of it, it's a good feeling. But not because they're in jail or prison, but even more so, be careful. Because chances are they're using you. And just like we spoke about earlier, they might be looking for a place to live, or just a come up, or just somebody to lay on. They'll act dedicated to you. And you'll say, well, listen, I've been talking to you long enough. You ain't got to worry about getting no place. You can come on over here with me. But see, my church, they always come around, they nosy. We got to keep this on the down low. Down low, church sisters. Down low doesn't mean secret homosexual men. And when R. Kelly made the song Down Low back in the day, it didn't mean none of that. But the homosexual thing took over, and that was the label. But there's a lot of people living on the down low, and it has nothing to do with homosexuality. It's so funny, because I've known at least 3 situations like that. Specifically, they didn't know the dude before. They're a church holy roller, and they got this man living with them. And they'll lie. Well, that's my cousin from Missouri. But how come he's in your bedroom at night? If he's your cousin and you got 2 other bedrooms and a couch, right? But he's visiting? Really? Things get revealed after a while anyway. And I'm not into busting people in their business, but a lot of us out here, we claim to be a victim, but sometimes the older women think they can get over and just have this man as a pet. I'm not trying to swing it around on you, but they feel they'll have control because they have the money, they have the place. But this man plays with your mind, and he's using you. I think that's just so funny. Number 10, the energy vampire. He drains your peace. He shows up with problems. He always needs something. You used to smile. Now you stress. Older women should not be in fixer-upper relationships, like I just described earlier. Fixer-upper relationship. You've done enough labor in life. This is your time to enjoy peace, joy, and rest. And I have to say, even me, myself personally, I don't run with a huge entourage. Used to have a huge online entourage, but I cut them off every time I see that they weren't sincere. I don't need that around me. I don't need that in my head. And it's a beautiful thing. The peace, the quiet, the clarity of thought. Whether you're a man or a woman, after a while, when you allow your mind to run out of control, whether it's a toxic relationship, whether it's information overload with fake news online, I don't want that stuff in my head. You want to be peaceful. I've gone through enough. Y'all know the crazy stories and situations I've been in, more than my share. That's why it's a good thing for me to unburden myself and share this stuff if you can learn from it or laugh at it. But I'm tired that way. I'm a young man for the world. I'm strong, but I want to keep it that way. Yes, at 62, I'm a young man for the world. I'm not going to let my past or energies around me suck me down. Nah. I'm keeping this part for myself, and I'm still very giving and sharing, but I have to be balanced in what I do. How to protect your heart without closing it. Take your time. Don't rush. Yeah, you're a little older, but you still have a little time. But you want to know how to feel old immediately? Rush into something and you can't get out of it right away. And now you find yourself in a state of mind where it's far removed from the peace that you had. And when you see something not right, expose it, question it, examine it. And if it doesn't fit your life, bounce. You got to ask real questions and listen carefully to the answers. And wait a week and a half and ask the same question in a different way and see what kind of answer you get. You see what I mean? It's just like these tests when you go for a certain government job and they give you this 100-question test. I've been through those. And this is how they trick you. For example, they'll ask you a question. They'll say, when I go home at night, I'm a little stressed, so I always have a few drinks. It's not a true or false question. It may say 1 drink, 3 drinks, 8 drinks, or I don't drink at all. And you check that box, knowing that you a damn wino, knowing that you an alcoholic. You trying to fool somebody. And then 30 to 40 questions later, it says, when I get a little too tipsy from too much alcohol, I, number 1, go out for a drive. Number 2, go home and lay down. Number 3, drink more. Number 4, I don't drink. So now if you answer it, I go home and lay down, you think, well, that's a noble answer. But that other question that they asked you, you said you don't drink. So they caught you in a lie. So you better cross-examine people and not hit them with all the questions all the time, but you have to question different stuff because you don't know. If they come by you and they don't have a computer and they want to use yours, but you're doing a little gardening outside, and you say, well, listen, you can go on the computer, and from the outside, you can see inside that they're sitting there on the computer. You can't see the screen. But they continuously clear their history. You have to ask, what are you hiding? Huh? What are you hiding? Maybe they're being polite, but go check the history. They might be looking at porn sites when you're outside gardening, right? I mean, you might be a porn addict too and have no problem with that. But, you know, watch the kind of material that these people are around you when you give them access, which you shouldn't do if you can't trust them otherwise. Don't let them in. They'll be going through your stuff. You got your passwords already automatic because you're too lazy to type it in. You don't have the different thing there where you have to get a code to open up your stuff. And they just go right on in and check your bank account. They just go right on in and see who you're talking to, check your emails. They get so much of your life and you don't know it. Like I said before, there's so many of us that don't even realize how we could be scoped out. You could have somebody in a supermarket who takes a fancy to you, not in a good way. And they make sure they get behind you while you're gabbing on the cell phone, telling your business, like I said, oh, I'm going to Hawaii for 3 weeks, starting Tuesday, and it's Saturday night. Now, they know they can either rob your joint or try to cozy up next to you so they can have a conversation with you while you're on vacation and melt you down. So by the time you come back, you're interested in this man. There's so many ways to get in. And the sad part is that we are social beings. We are made to relate to each other. We're made to be with each other. The human touch, and I don't mean the human touch where it's all going to lead to foreplay and sex. I'm just saying the human touch of having a person's righteous energy around you. But the thing is, so many people are predatory and not many people are righteous anymore. It's not like the way it used to be. And you had sharks back then, but now we have social media. We can potentially have situationships with 10 different women. You laying in the bed next to your woman talking to 3 or 4 other ones that might be down for the down low relationship. So we don't know what we're looking at. We just see the projections of what's there. And a lot of older women are vulnerable. They have sense, but lots of them will compromise. Don't fall into that. Keep yourself busy. Know that the peace that you've earned is very, very valuable. See? And you have to keep your boundaries, and you don't have to explain why. Any man in their right mind knows that if you have boundaries, it's to protect yourself, right? You have to protect yourself. If they're trying to bully you down to just get information or get in your life, no, that's a violation. You don't have to explain anything. I know if I talk to anybody, even legit, and there's certain areas of the conversation that seem to be where they don't want to go, and I'm never prying, then I know that there's a reason that they have to be that way. Something happened to them. It's like a friend of mine I know, he doesn't like people knowing where he lives. He likes to keep his home front protected with his family. He has been through things that show him he has to protect the home front. So if you're close with him, he will tell you, do not bring anyone here that's not in our inner circle. You're having a cookout. All of a sudden there's that friend or 2 friends that come with your friend. Hey man, I know you're having the cookout, and I'm sorry just to pop up on you like this with 2 people. Now you see my face. Now you see what's going on. Because now if I have a falling out with you, and you get one of these jokers who know where I live to come do something, it's war now. You see what I mean? Something as simple as that. Just being nice. Oh, yeah, no problem. You're a friend of his, and so that means you're a friend of mine. You don't know what kind of spirit they carry. It's that tight these days. And I will also say social media has made it where people are more manipulative. You can see more stuff. That friend brings another person they know by your house, and that friend that came to your house is friends with your friend. And so they go to the Facebook friends list and see you there and continue their surveillance of you, even though they don't know you. I mean, if you see them in the supermarket, you'll say hi because they came to your house, but you don't know what's on their heart. You don't know when people come inside your house, if they're staking the joint out. Somebody you half know, oh, I happen to be in the neighborhood. Oh, could I use your restroom? And they're going through your medicine cabinet to see if you're on any medications. They're counting how many toothbrushes you have. They okay, I know she lives here, but I see 3 more toothbrushes, and they don't look like little kitty brushes. They're not brand new. You know what I mean? They walk past to go into one of the bathrooms, and they can peek in the bedroom, and they see the covers all messed up. Oh, somebody else lives here. People are quick these days. It used to be back in the day when crack first came out. Crack kids, they came up with all kind of schemes to get money. They had a super brain to feed that habit. But now with social media, we got people who are not even on crack, who think like crackheads on so many different levels. And they're wise because of their desperation to get in on your life and suck you of your resources, whether it's long-term or a one-time hit. A one-time hit. They'll be satisfied with that because they have 15, 20 other people they're aiming on. I'm sorry to sound paranoid. This is all in a way of protecting yourself, Because there are people who walk around this world and assume and judge the world by the state of their own mind. I've said that lots of times before. You're a nice person, so you see this person smiling, they must be a nice person. How many people have you ran into and you met that you realize that their exterior demeanor does not match the evil that they have in their heart? Isn't that something? But you learn after a while. Even when they have a reputation that other people can vouch for, you don't know who they are. You got to know a person for yourself. And you have to speak with trusted friends if there's overlap. And let the other people observe this person too. Because they may catch something that you don't catch because of your emotional connection. That's a budding thing, it's growing. So you want to invest more time, but you have friends watch out. Girl, I saw him, and he was out there. He was in the parking lot over there by the strip mall, and he couldn't keep his eyes off that girl's butt. I mean, men will glance at things and keep it moving. But you know when you're with somebody what's inappropriate behavior, what's showing the world what's on your mind. Oh, girl, he tried to talk to my girlfriend and didn't know that my girlfriend knows me and you. Things come out. You can't hide it. And you got to watch their patterns. Who he is will show over time, right? If a man is meant for you, he won't drain you. You see, when you feel drained, sometimes it happens naturally. You might have a disagreement or it's going to happen. But a continuous thing, but he's not supposed to drain you. He should be considerate and connected to you. He'll match your peace. He'll bring joy and not stress. And yes, love is still possible, but love without wisdom is a trap. Even if you luck up without taking any precautions and get with somebody who brings joy and the right one for you, chances are, come on now. You eat a whole watermelon and go to bed and leave your screen on the window open. All kind of mosquitoes will be biting you up to get the sugar out your veins. It's just not going to happen that way. This life you've built is not something to gamble with. So you got to protect your light, protect your time, and never forget you are the prize. Because there are a lot of women out here who are older and they have a bit of low self-esteem, and these men could sniff it and they'll turn it against you, and you think he's doing you a favor. Well, I'm older, I'm not as attractive as I used to be. So, I'm just glad to have him around and how he loves me. Of course he's going to love you. Of course he's going to do all the freakish things that you used to love when you were younger and you think that you're not that attractive and you cut your sex life with it, and he got you going because of your self-esteem. So not just about the predators, but you got to be in the right state of mind to deal with anybody. And that goes with any age. Because like we say, there'll be the younger ones coming at you for the purse, and there'll be the old broke down players that raised hell all their life and never built anything, and they want you to be their nurse. What's the motivation? Why do you want to be with me? You may not say it that openly, but say it to yourself. What is it about me that I can see he really is attracted to? Right? You're worthy. You're the prize. But how does he see you? Can you understand how he sees you? See, we look out into the world, and this goes in every situation, no matter what it is. We go out into the world and we see everybody. We discern them. We break it down. But they're treating you a certain way because of their perception of you. So you got to ask yourself, what do they see? What do they see? Now, certain situations you don't want to deal with, you know how to manufacture your persona and keep them seeing what you want them to see, and they'll leave you alone. But really and truly, have you thought about what people see in your life? Not even just the predatory men, but everybody. You're not going to show the same side to everybody. You're not going to open up to everybody the same way. but you have to manufacture your persona so that you have a shield. And how do they say it in church? A hedge of protection. By the way you carry yourself and what you project out. Because we all know people like that. You know, you go to a job and they're a supervisor and they're very stern, businesslike. They don't play. They're professional. They're cordial to a point, but they're there about business. And you meet them at somebody's house or some function, and they're laughing and joking, and it's a whole different side. You've got to learn how to master those sides. It doesn't mean you're fake. But when you smiling at everybody, oh, are you okay? How are you? How have you been? That's an open door. We got us a fool here asking me all the time if I'm okay. Oh, so I can use you? You're a caring spirit like that? I can just walk on in and use you? We got to be careful. These days, you have to keep it airtight. These days, you've got to have your emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical condom on you. The condom is not just about what you put as a barrier between you and somebody who you're having sex with to protect you from the transmission of diseases, right? We have other condoms. You know, we worry about the physical, but we let them raw dog us on an emotional level, on a mental level. We're just an open book. Just come right on in and get all you want and deposit your negative energy in. I'm a man, I don't have a womb, but I'm speaking as a woman in my womb. I'm wide open for you, baby. Come on in and use me. You can sense that I have a little bit of low self-esteem. You can sense that I'm a little lonely, and you think you're guarded. Just because you have a big wall around your house physically doesn't mean that man can't use your loneliness and low self-esteem against you to get you to open that door and let him right on in. Ain't that something? We let the devil symbolically right on in. That's why you got to take your time. And I'm not saying when you're older, all older women have low self-esteem and all older women are lonely. Like my friend here that I just recently met that inspired me for this show. You ain't getting over on her like that. She's on point. And when she left me the voicemail yesterday, that further cemented everything. I said, I got to talk about this. I told her to. I said, she's way, way, way on the West Coast right now in America. So she's probably still sleeping, but I know she's going to hear this. You got to protect yourself. And men, you have to protect yourself the same way too. And there's certain things about older men that are a little different than the women, because a lot of these younger women will get you on an ego level, make you feel young again, make you feel, yeah, just lie to you. And you feel like Superman. Go out and get that red Corvette. You got them little blue pills. And you think, you know, and what they want is that they know you getting a pension. They know you got a little bit of money. And they'll show up whenever they'll know your schedule. Social Security pay. When's your birthday? Oh, it's going to pay you the second Wednesday every month. And the night before, they're right there with you, freaking you out. Manipulation on so many different levels. Who's not manipulating? I mean, even a person who considers himself to be so nice, their resume, the way they present it to a potential employer may not be exactly the way things went. So they manipulate like that. So don't think we don't manipulate. Take a hard look at our lives and see how we manipulate. Hopefully it's not anything sizable or devious or where you're hurting somebody else. You know, the mere fact of a woman putting makeup on, you're manipulating. Because you can't see it. So it's for the other people in the world, because you feel, oh, I have to cover this floor. I don't look good enough. Men do it too. You got old men walk around with tight jeans on and a sock rolled up in their crotch area to make it seem like they got a big bulge. Stupid stuff that people still do. Chance Rogers, yes, we scurving them. Yep, we're going to do it. And I'm going to bounce right now. Again, let me put the link in just in case you want to come and say something. If not, it's okay. So I'll wait a minute for that, but I'm going to get ready to do some things. I have another topic in mind that I want to speak about when I get back in, and one before I go to bed. So we're just going to keep on peppering the opponent with the jab and keep the content coming. I love doing what I do. It's great to be here and vibe with everybody here. And I do appreciate you so much. You know, I'm gonna wait another 30 seconds. If you want to come on and hit that link, it's in the chat room. And other than that, I'm about to bounce. And thank you. Leave your comments and like and share and all that internet talk. But regardless of what a person does, we're gonna keep on rolling with this. We ain't never gonna stop. That's the way it's gonna be. Okay. I'm gonna see you later on. I may pop and do something live out in the street, depending on where I am. And we're going to be adventurous with this thing, but you never know where I'm going to pop up and what we're going to do. All right. Much love to you all. Take care. LANCESCURV out. Peace.